This is the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Your hosts are Seth Jacobson and Patrick Heiler.
Chapter 28, A Way Out, and our symbol is the dice. Clad only in his breeches, Matt was finishing a snack after breakfast, some ham, 3 apples, bread, and butter, when the door of his room opened, and Nynaeve, Egwene, and Elaine filed in, all smiling at him brightly. He got up for a shirt, then stubbornly sat down again. They could at least have knocked. In any case, it was good to see their faces. At first it was. "Well, you look better," Egwene said, "as if you've had a month rest and good food."
I think we were talking about.
I read that totally wrong, but
it's okay. It gets the same point across.
I think we talked about the fact that you don't worry too much about accuracy on the podcast as you're doing the reads.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I
to
change us to thes sometimes, and we don't bother, making it absolutely perfect.
We're not reading an audiobook here where we're trying to get the exact words across.
Right, we're trying to convey a message.
So I noticed in one of the previous episodes we talked about how one of your pet peeves was just the knock and enter. Is this worse or better?
Just enter, no knock.
Worse. I think that's, totally. It's just disrespectful.
It is.
I also noticed the size of his snack. Some ham, 3
Yeah.
apples, bread, butter. It's like that's a full meal.
It's a full meal, but it's his just after breakfast snack. I highlighted that too.
The hobbits would like him a lot.
On the note of my pet peeve, knocking while entering is just pretending to not be disrespectful. That's it's not even.
It's feigning courtesy.
It's like
you might as well have just walked in.
You give the image of caring, but you don't actually.
Like you should have just walked in at that point. There was no reason to knock.
It's like, I understand I'm supposed to knock, but social niceties suck. So anyway, I'm coming in.
Yeah. Well, that pisses people off.
You in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm one for my privacy.
Fair enough.
I hated when my mom did that to me as a kid. Just walked into my room. Like,
this is obviously an ambush, Mom.
I was never doing anything I shouldn't be doing, but still, it's like...
Are you supposed to be masturbating? Is that like... Because, I mean, I as a teenage boy, that's kind of what you're supposed to be doing when you're alone in your room.
Yeah, but I was always smart enough to never do it when my mom was awake, because I know about her tendency to just walk into my room. Moving on from our masturbation habits.
We'll cut that.
Speaking of Matt alone naked in his room.
Right? Okay, so the next piece that I have highlighted is Nynaeve pressed a hand to his forehead. He flinched before he recalled that she had done much the same for at least 5 years back home. She was just the wisdom then, he thought. She wasn't wearing that ring. Matt drives me insane with his absolute, just refusal to adjust to the one power at all. He drives me insane with it.
Yeah, I mean, but again, watch what he does versus what he says, because he takes advantage of channelers in his battle plans.
He does, as long as it doesn't have to do with the power coming anywhere near him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of his foundational things. Like, that's the whole Foxhead medallion. Like, he does not want the power to touch him if he can.
See, me, on the other hand, I'm like, I hella want to know what it's like to be healed. Like, I want to feel what it's like to have the warder bond set on me. I hella want to know what it's like to feel the oath rod set in. Like, I want to know what all of these things are like.
I feel that. I'd like to know too. I guess though, I'd rather be a channeler. I feel like, especially for the non-channeler men in the series, they frequently freak out about it. And I feel like it's because, it's this level of power that they could never achieve, and you don't know what someone's doing. There's a total helplessness to it,
It's really based in some major power dynamics between the genders.
Sure.
I love him sitting there looking at all 3 of them, trying to figure out which one's the cutest.
Yes.
They're all frowning down at him in anger. And he's like, can't figure out which one of you is cutest. And then he's like, wait, what am I thinking?
I do have that highlighted too. Had they been anybody but who and what they were, he would have asked any and all three of them to dance a jig or a reel.
I love this next quote. One pretty woman means fun at the dance. Two pretty women means trouble in the house. Three pretty women means run for the hills. My dad used to say that. You're up to something, Nynaeve. You're all smiling like cats staring at a finch caught in a thorn bush. And I think I am the finch.
He's got that one right.
The smiles flickered and vanished. At least he called it. He's like, okay, so what's your plan?
What do you want?
What scheme are you putting me into?
What's the pitch? Get to it.
And the next couple of pages, all the various pitches they're throwing at him. Everyone tries their own way of doing it, and then he sees through it and shuts it down.
Egwene really had the right of it when she was just like, I told you that just coming right out with it would be the best way to go about it.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they don't believe it. And so we get this little circus here, which is just a lot of fun. I mean, this is one of those interactions where I really enjoy Matt being kind of obstinate and the girls being kind of manipulative, and that whole back and forth that they do. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. You either enjoy it or you don't,
I'm on both sides of that fence because I love it because I get to see the girls coming into their more sophisticated selves. They're learning how to manipulate and push people and guide situations to their desires and their needs. And Matt is coming into himself with I will not be goaded, I will not be guided, this is my life, and who cares what the pattern wants me to do. And then at the same time, it's just so annoying to watch them struggle with each other like that.
But that's what makes them grow, is the fact that they struggle here in the beginning and then evolve so far and become so smooth.
Yeah.
And so here, this is I just want to pet them on the head and be like, oh, you're so cute. You're really trying. You're really, really trying.
I relate to Matt here. I would be way more likely to help someone if they were like, listen, I need a huge favor. Here's what it is. Can you do this? Way more likely than if they spent a long time trying to soothe and manipulate me. Now that makes me suspicious.
Uh-huh.
But if you're just like, hey, can you do something? Yeah, probably, yeah.
When you're trying to manipulate me, and you're evidently trying to manipulate me, I'm going to spend all of the time looking for the hook. I don't even care what you're asking anymore. I'm looking for the hook.
Right. Is now what you ask me, is that what you're actually asking me, or are you trying to get me to do something else? Is this part of the plan?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if someone's just like, hey, dude, there's no other way for me to do this thing except you could do it. Can you do it? That doesn't lead me to believe that they're trying to manipulate me into doing anything, if they're being outright.
I just like to go on record as saying, feel free to butter me up. Compliments will get you everywhere.
Seth wants to be buttered.
I mean, buttering up to a certain extent is definitely useful, but they're not trying to butter him up here. I feel in fact, a lot of what they're doing is browbeating the hell out of him.
A little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Especially right here. I told you we should just ask him straight out. He's stubborn as any mule when he wants to be, and tricks him as a cat. You are, Matt. You know it, so stop frowning.
I really liked this part where Elaine says, I want you to carry a letter. And Matt says, well, that doesn't sound very hard. Sure, what do I get out of it? And she drew herself up, slim and proud. He could almost see a throne behind her. Are you a loyal subject of Andor? Do you not wish to serve the Lion Throne and your daughter heir? Matt snickered.
I highlighted that too and just wrote, ha, at the end of it, because
no, he is not.
The Lion Throne of Andor means nothing to him.
Yeah.
It works on the guards. Well, yeah, they're the freaking guards of Andor.
You're their
they're
boss,
sworn to serve you.
Yeah.
Matt's just like, we don't have a queen in the Two Rivers. If anything, the queen was Nynaeve.
Just going back a little bit, I think it was episode 121 or 122. You guys were talking about how long has it been since they got back from Toman Head. And right here, we see, hush, Egwene, Nynaeve said. Matt, just because we want to ask you a favor does not mean we don't care how you feel. We do care, and you know that, unless you're being even more wool-headed than usual. Are you well? You look remarkably well compared to how I last saw you. It really does look more like a month than 2 days ago.
Yeah. So it's been, I'm going to say 2 nights that
Yeah.
they've been there?
Yeah, I think we're on the 3rd morning afterwards right now.
Right.
I think that was when we had Aradia on, but we were right. That was like 24 hours all the time since, and then they slept last night, and now they're coming into Matt's room.
Yeah, I think this is
or whatever.
This is day 3. 1 night sleep in, but day 3. Bambi has the night of it.
The whole first night they were like testing and everything.
Right.
Gotcha.
I don't know if they got any sleep on that first night at all. And then they were just up the next morning working and going to classes and stuff. And that's the morning that Matt woke up and got a visit from Lanfear.
But eventually Matt says, well, I would, but I just can't. It's like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to get out of here, but it just so happens that the only thing that can get me out of here is an order from the Emerald herself. And then the girls are like, well, it just so happens that the only thing we have is an order from the Emerald herself.
How providential.
Nice.
Well, before they actually say that, they kind of huddle in the corner and talk about it, and the only thing Matt overhears is Egwene saying that, well, if we're all 3 of us together, we don't need 2 letters. We only need the 1.
Right.
So we can give Matt 1 to get him out, and we can take 1 with us use as we will.
They totally snatch it back from him in Tyr. They're like, give it back.
Yeah.
God knows what he'll do with that.
They never really use those again, do they?
I don't think they would come in handy in most of the places that they go to.
And then very quickly, she's not the Amerlin anymore.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to think of any time that they actually do use them. I think that they use them once to get on a boat.
Yes, I think that's right. Is that when they're leaving Tarvalin?
Maybe,
I can't remember.
Did they acquisition some funds for the circus with
No,
them?
because when the Amerlin approves them leaving to go to Tyr, she gives them letters of rights for money.
Right. So that's that. I knew there was something from the Amerlin that gave her money. That gave her money.
I think
it was different letters.
I think she gives her some ridiculous amount. Like she gives her
1,000 gold.
3 bills of rights that are each worth like 3,000 gold coins or something like that.
I thought it was 3 worth 1,000.
That might be what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a giant pile of money.
Oh, geez, yeah. They say it's enough. If it's enough money to buy a ship, which they basically need to do because they have to pay a big chunk of that to the sea folk to get a ride, because the sea folk don't want to let them on.
Oh, right.
Because they don't want them to know the Windfinders can channel.
Yeah, well, they leave it up to the Windfinder, and she's the one who gives the yes or the no. Bambi touched on something that I made a note of. Was she says, so I reckon Swan was expecting the girls to use their second letter to get him out. It's why she gave them 2 letters instead of 1. Her command to the gatekeepers contained a pretty big loophole. After all, cannot get out without an order from me. And I wonder if that was intentional calculation or if that was complete oversight.
I wondered that as well. In one of the previous episodes, I feel like I said that out loud. Did she, like, insofar as much as Swan expected Elaine to be one of the hunters, even though she never officially sanctioned it, she knows it's going to happen. Does she also know that they're going to spring Matt, essentially?
My counter argument would be that there are 2 of them, so she gives them 2 letters. And it's, Occam's razor. There's nothing more complicated than that.
Right. No, and I totally agree. I don't think that she anticipated it. I think that it was an oversight on her end. I don't think she was anticipating the girl sneaking Matt out.
I agree. I think it was an oversight. And that the fact there's 2 girls, she gives them 2 letters.
Yeah, right. Well, why not just give Egwene and Nynaeve 4 and say, I know what you're going to do, so here.
Right. Yeah, because she knows that Elaine's going to be there, and she knows that Matt's going to be there if we're going with that idea. So why wouldn't she give her more than 2?
And I think Suan wants to keep Matt in the tower because
Absolutely.
she wants control over the Horn Sounder. I don't think she wants him out.
Not just that, but I mean, she just led a huge healing on him. She's invested at this point.
Right.
Yeah, Bambi, I want the initial theory to be true. I want Swan to know everything, but I think it's more likely that that particular one was an oversight.
Yeah.
But feel free to headcanon it the other way if you want.
Yeah, I could make a weak argument, but it would be weak.
There's just more evidence pointing to it being an oversight than it being intentional.
And maybe a little bit of Taviran twisting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because Matt needed to get out.
Which is why she didn't think of it, because the pattern wouldn't let her.
And I also kind of want to point out that this chapter is called A Way Out, and the symbol is the dice. And when I first saw that, I was like, this is Matt gets out because he's a Taveran and he's changing events that are in the tower.
Yeah, totally.
This letter to Morghese is not really incredibly important, but it gets him out so that he can do what he wants to do.
He didn't have to be the one to send it. But
no, it could have been anyone.
Yeah.
They could have found anyone. They have money, they have this writ, they have a letter. The freaking daughter heir of Andor wants a letter sent to her mother. I'm sure he'll get a nice stay and everything he needs.
With that letter, they could have walked up to a warder and been like, here, do this thing.
Yeah.
Dance.
All the way to Camelin. Dance all the way to Camelin.
You could make a warder dance with that. Until I find out. I like that Matt is immediately suspicious. He says, is this real? You didn't... How did you get this? She did not forge it, if that's what you mean, Elaine said.
I love that he hums a pocket full of gold when he gets this.
Total
I love the titles of his songs. They're so wonderful. It's like, because there's nothing more valuable right now to him than this letter.
If you can get me out of this freaking city, I will carry Elaine to her mother on her back.
I'll crawl with the letter in my teeth. And then they hand it to him, and he's like, oh, I didn't think, oh.
You're going to get more than a pocket full of gold with all of this. Like, by the time that he leaves Tarvalin, he's going to have, like, a minor noble's fortune in his pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not from the letter, but just from his luck.
Yeah.
And on that note, underneath where we see the text on the letter, I kind of wanted to note that Nynaeve says, don't you have money? After Matt asks for it? Like, you gambled with her and all the time. And Matt says, we gambled for coppers, Nynaeve, and he would not even do that after a while. It doesn't matter, I'll manage. Which kind of points to Matt having at least a little bit of luck before the healing.
Yeah,
totally.
More than a little bit. He's already abnormally lucky even before the healing.
Yeah.
But, I think the healing amplifies it significantly.
Oh, yeah.
And clearly it's particularly strong this night. Do we have any theories about why this night in particular it goes nuts?
No. I feel like probably because he needs it. Wait, when is the night? Is that chapter 30?
Yeah, I think it starts with chapter 30, but it might.
Yeah, I mean,
continue.
yeah, it goes for a couple of chapters.
Yeah,
it's a solid 3 chapters, starting with chapter 30.
Oh, it's a few chapters long.
Yeah,
and I think each one of those chapters has like perspective switches.
But yeah, it's all one night. I think because he needs it. He gets out there. He really needs the money. And he wins it, and then there's a bunch of people trying to kill him, so he really needs it.
Yeah.
And he's like dizzy and fainty the whole time. Like he keeps, he's not really totally healthy yet.
No, and he keeps eating his way through the establishments that he's at.
Oh, I forgot about that.
he eats all the food there and has to move on to the next one.
Gamble for some more food.
I love when he meets up with Tom and he orders 4 chickens and then asks Tom if he wants one too.
I want to say it's 6 chickens.
Is it 6?
That is amazing.
So then they sort of just hang out for a while, and this is an important scene and easy to skip over, but he does actually enjoy talking with them and being with the women from his village, and he is friends with these people, and this is the last time he's going to see them for some time.
For a very long time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely the last chance that he gets to sit down with them just as friends and not as partners in a mission.
Because they all meet up in Tyr.
Yeah.
At the end of the book, and they spend some time, but at that point, Rand's the ruler, and there's some weirdness going on between him and Elaine, and Matt's like,
I want nothing to do with any of this.
Right.
Talk of Emmons Field made him homesick, and it seemed to make Nynaeve and Egwene sad, as if they were speaking of something they would never see again. He was sure their eyes moistened, but when he tried to change the subject, they brought it back again, to people they knew, to the festivals of Beltime and Sunday, to harvest dances and picnic gatherings for the shearing. That's kind of a sad paragraph.
It is kind of a sad paragraph, yeah.
Yeah.
The three sitting in that room never do go back to the Two Rivers.
No.
Not in the series.
I mean,
Maybe one day.
I don't think Nynaeve ever will. She has no place there anymore. Egwene, we know, never will because she dies. Ugh.
Ugh.
And Matt is supposedly heading back to Shan-Chan.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's definitely going to be at Tuon's side as, the second in command. She'll probably send him and his battle skills back overseas to retake her home continent.
She might try.
I mean, if she goes, he'll go with her.
There was a potential story that was going to be written by Robert Jordan about...
Book 16, the Shan-Chan Try Again.
Basically. Only this time they have Matt, so...
Well, the first thing that popped in my head when Travis was saying that is that if Matt did somehow sick Matt on his homeland, which I doubt her ability to turn Matt against his homeland. But even if she could, he would get
turn Matt on his.
Oh yeah, what did I say?
If Matt turned Matt.
Oh, did I? Yeah. If if Tuon did somehow manage that, which I doubt, but if she did, he would show up and have to fight Perrin's armies, right? Perrin and Elaine would be the first.
Perrin goes through the ways to cleanse the ways with the Ogier. They sing Mach and Shin to death. And I think the other spinoff was with Demon Dread and his adventures through Shara. But
yeah, that was a fun one. Worth reading if you haven't read it yet. River of Souls.
I haven't, but I want to really bad.
It's only like 20 pages or something.
Yeah, I didn't think the one with Perrin existed.
It does exist, but I think it's really hard to get your hands on it because Harriet never really approved it. It never got published, whereas River of Souls got published as like a fundraiser kind of a thing.
Right. So you're leaving me in the dark here because I want that so badly I could cry.
Literally,
if it's
yes.
real.
It is real. Like, there's interviews where Brandon Sanderson talks about it. And
he talks about
heard of it. Yeah.
He talks about that he was going to make it. But
no, he said that he wrote it and he gave it to Harriet. And Harriet was like, I'm not sold on it. It doesn't fit. And it's too much of a straying point from where the rest of the series is at. So
yeah, no, I want to read that really badly. It's that comment about why is Matt like a policeman? They're never there when you need them.
Yeah, I highlighted that too.
I liked that Matt has the thought, a man would have to be a fool to let himself get involved with a woman like her.
Like someone who could channel potentially, like Tuon, or a noble
or
like Tuon,
royalty,
yeah, or
someone commanding,
cute girl like Tuon,
and strong-willed, and yeah, like Tuon, someone like Tuon.
Yeah.
I do really like this part though with Matt when he just like pulls him aside and like cuts all the bullshit of reminiscing and is just like, look, you guys have really helped me out here. I don't know what it's worth, but I'll never forget this, and if you guys ever need me to be there for you, I'll be there for you. And then the girls just kind of look at him and laugh, and they're like, if a woman needs a hero, she needs him today, not tomorrow. And they just start laughing, and I commented on it and was like, one, that's kind of mean, and two, you guys are going to eat those words so hard.
Well, but they're referencing an earlier conversation they had where they were talking about how men always offer to be there for you, but by the time you like send out word for them,
it's too late. Yeah.
And like, so they're actually it's really funny that he says that right after they were discussing how ironic it was that men were never there. Like, although it's kind of mean to him, to them, it's like he just
made a
He
big
literally hit
inside
on
joke.
the head on the nail for the point
nail
that
on
they
the
were
head,
just
yeah,
making.
gotcha.
Lan said the same thing to Nynaeve, right?
Yeah, and that's what they're referencing is basically they were complaining about that, and she's like, "Well, I need Lan now. I need his snuggles, and he's not there."
And his, knife in the shadows would be helpful too.
Well, yeah, all those kind of things.
But the foreshadowing there is definitely real. Like, he's going to save your asses in a tear, and you guys are going to be just as grateful for that as you are about his offer right here. So,
Yeah, they're not grateful at all. It takes them forever to even... do they ever even admit that they needed help?
Avienda makes them admit that they needed help.
That's right.
Avienda hears the story and is like, "You have some fucking toe."
yeah, she does. I do remember that. She was like, wow, you guys are major bitches. You should apologize and thank him.
So they get their comeuppance eventually for that.
And then I just have the readout. He stared at the door, closing behind them. Women, he decided, for at least the 100th time, were odd. Then, his eye fell on Elaine's letter, and the folded paper lying atop it. The Amerlin's blessed, not to be understood, but welcome as a fire in winter paper. He danced a little caper in the middle of the flowered carpet. Camelin to see, and a queen to meet. Your own words will free me of you, Amerlin, and get me away from Celine, too. You'll never catch me, he laughed, and meant it for both of them. You'll never catch Matt Cotham.
And no way does he end in Camelin.
No.
No, he makes a very short pit stop in Camelin and then heads straight to Tyr.
Thank you for listening to the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Rate us in the Apple Podcast app or support us on Patreon. Is that good enough?